Hey guys, it's Rob with Strategy Simple, and we're going to have an interesting conversation today. Today we're going to talk about 5 critical go-to-market strategy elements. So your go-to-market strategy is one thing, but then there's 5 things that you really have to have in place to make sure that your strategy is going to be successful, and I thought we would review those today. This actually coincides with an article that I've just written that I'll be posting to LinkedIn as well. So feel free to look that one up. I'll actually put a link to that in the first comment. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the things we're going to talk about today are, number 1, know your audience, and I've talked about ideal client profile before. I'm going to talk about it again. Number 2, define your value proposition. What's the pain that you solve? Number 3, establish your branding, identity, and voice. This is a pretty critical piece. Number 4, develop a tactical marketing plan. Number 5, execute and monitor your results. What are your KPIs going to be? So let's go ahead and jump into the first one. The first one is the critical element is really knowing your audience, and that's to really identify your ideal customer profile. So that's important because you have to know who you're talking to, right? So a big part of this is identifying if you are B2B or B2C. You obviously know that. If you're B2B, go through the firmographics, like what's a company size, all of that stuff. Where are they located? What industry are they in? Go look at their NICS and SIC codes, and then go deeper. Don't look just at the primary one. Build out that profile so that you can actually see, what's their 3rd, 4th, 5th category that they say that they're in, and if you can start to see patterns for those. For customers, obviously, if you're going after the B2C market, do the demographics piece. One of the things that I don't really want to get into right now is the whole concept of personas and avatars, but that's a really critical piece of knowing who your customer is and who you're going to go to market for. So that's the first part. The second piece that we're going to talk about today is, hang on, I always have troubles with chewing to my mouse, is defining your value. And one of the things that I always talk about is, really what becomes defensible, what's the problem or pain that you solve, and your solution, how do you defend against your competitors? So, that's pretty critical. We always go through what I call the painstorming process, right? So once you know your ideal customer profile, what are the problems or the pains that you solve, and then how is that valuable to your prospect? And there's a really cool book by Eric Peterson and Tim Reister called Conversations That Win the Complex Sale. And what they talk about is your value wedge. And I talk about this all the time. So what is it that's similar to what your competitors do, but different, right? That becomes defensible. So identifying what that value edge is, and then how it's important to the client. And in my article, one of the things I talk about is the 5 whys, right? And this is a really annoying process, but the results are pretty good. So after you come up with a solution, we offer this level of value. This is the problem we solve. Then ask 5 times why. Why is that important? Why is that important to the client? Right, and go through that process. And yes, I know it's annoying, but again, you're going to get really good information back from that. All right, so we're going to go to the next one, and let's jump over to there. Establishing your branding, identity, and your voice. The reason that this is important, and I used a fingerprint for a reason, right? What's unique about your brand, your voice? What do you look like, and what are the things that are involved in this? Well, it's your logo, it's your colors, it's your font, it's the images and the style of images that you use. It's got to be consistent. So if you're doing any kind of advertising or marketing or your website, make sure that it's consistent all the way across, that it's got the same theme. I always credit Target for really upgrading our brand consciousness, right? So if you go into a Target store and you get all these high-end brands, go to McDonald's and look at how they're consistently building out their brand as well. Obviously, those are aspirational brands, the small market, the small business market, or the non-enterprise level clients. Obviously, you can have your own brand as well. So I always talk about establishing your brand identity, and then from a voice perspective, how do you communicate? What do you say? What are the words that you use? Are you using vernacular specific to your industry? So make sure that your voice is consistent as well. So, all right, going to the next one. Develop a tactical marketing plan. And have a plan. This is important. Like, what channels are you going to use? How are you going to do it? One of the things that I always talk about is you really have to avoid just random acts of marketing or marketing tactics du jour. Don't hire a hyper-focused specialist, that Facebook ads guy to do that one piece. Develop your plan. What are the channels that you're going to use? Monitor and measure it, but go through the process of identifying where your customers are hanging out, where are they, and then go after them there, right? It doesn't always have to be digital. Maybe a billboard's a right option. Maybe direct mail is going to work for you. It depends on, again, B2B or B2C. Can you do a combination of them and make sure that, again, going back to that brand identity and your voice and your tone, messaging, it's got to be congruent. Make sure that it's consistent all the way across. So if they come in from that space, they're not shocked by seeing something different, right? The next one is, obviously this is pretty standard stuff here. If you didn't know this one, we've got a problem. But, execute and monitor results. What are you going to measure? I always talk about measurement and developing your KPIs. And if you've watched any of my videos in the past, you've seen me talk about customer acquisition cost and lifetime value. Those are two main measurements. So go through that process, monitor what's going to work, develop the KPIs that are important to you, and always make sure that you're comparing to those so that if you need to pivot, that you can. So that's pretty much what we're going to talk about today. All of this is really part of our organic growth acceleration playbook, going through your go-to-market strategy. This is a proven plan that works across multiple industries, but we've got 3 phases: define, develop, and drive, and then we've got 3 steps under each one of those, and then there's steps underneath each of those as well. So I highly encourage you that if you're interested in something like that, or if you want a defined plan, take a look at our acceleration plan playbook and reach out to us. And as always, if you like this content, I'm going to ask you, give me a thumbs up, like it, leave me a comment, and share it with your friends. So, folks, that's all I've got for you today. I hope that was informative. Again, I'll post a link to the article when I get it live here. And have a great day, and we'll talk with you soon. Thanks.